Okay, well, did he open that can? No, not intentionally anyway. Three bullies and a girl named Tangerine enter the store. Her boyfriend Juice, he doesn't have that big of a part, but he's certainly worth noting, played by Ron Macklin, who wears eye makeup and a nice suit coat and he's very jealous and possessive. And turns out he's abusive and mad at Dodger for even looking at his girlfriend because Dodger has kind of a crush on her. And this guy, he's older, he looks older, and I don't know why he can't get over it, but he must have a terrible, I don't know.
It's a stereotype.
Well,
it's
whatever.
A cliche.
He's a problem. Anyway, for some reason, they shake down this kid for money. And they take all his money. And then the boyfriend kidnaps Dodger, and he and the bullies take him out of the shop and lock him up in the sewer. They actually knock him out. He's out cold. And they turn on this spigot that lets sewer water, etc., in there, and he could drown. He's knocked out. And the garbage, so like
they make it seem though like the sewage water will stop after like a couple of inches.
I don't think so. That isn't what I gained about that. But anyway, like I said, the garbage pail becomes open because while the bullies were grabbing him and taking him out, they knocked the can over. And what you see, you don't see any kids coming out because remember, we don't know what's in it at the beginning. You see green goo going out of the pan onto the floor. So anyway, the garbage pail kids get out and they come to the sewer after the bullies are gone. I don't know how they know he's in there. They know he works there. They hear everything that's going on apparently, but anyway, somehow they find him in the sewer and they let him go. They help him, they clean him up, and
they make inappropriate remarks at him even though he's a 14-year-old kid.
Yes. And anyway, so these garbage pail kids, I just want to say, apparently they come from outer space. I told you who they are, and this is what they wear these masks, but their voices are dubbed in by other actors. And one farts, sorry about my language. Another has snot constantly coming out of her nose. One of them has terribly bad breath. And then there's Alligator. Now he has an alligator head, and it looks pretty good. And he likes to bite people's toes off.
And eat them.
And he also
eyeballs,
likes to eat eyeballs.
And fingers.
And so he actually has a fetish for people's toes, which would cause someone, irreparable pain and loss. But anyway, the other kids look like, well, Marco looked this up, they're supposed to look like Cabbage Patch doll faces. Or, I don't know, one was...
They do.
Predicated on the other, but anyway...
They're a parody. They're a parody of the Cabbage Patch Kids. They're like a screwed up version of them.
So, I think that's all I'll say. From there on, it's kind of hard for me to even follow, and until like the last fourth of the movie. But I'll let Marco continue, and then I'll tell you what I thought and what I gave it.
Well, there are a lot of problems with this movie. I don't even care about spoilers. I'm not even going to bother saying, oh, we're going to do a spoiler review, because this movie isn't worth it. And so, number one, he compares the Garbage Pail Kids to opening Pandora's box. And if you know anything about Pandora's box, then no, it is not like that at all. The kids don't really do that much. They go out, they eat food, they disturb people at the movie theater.
They gross them out.
They bite off someone's toes, and then that person immediately forgives them. and he doesn't even go to the hospital because he's a hardcore biker, and just lots of stuff like that. When I was a kid, I went to Kroger, and this movie was for cheap. It was like $4, and it had this cover that made it really look like a really cool horror movie. It had this garbage pail, and it was all green, and there was red lettering, and it's like, oh, is this gonna be a creature feature with like creepy little gremlin type monsters? Oh no, it's just this stupid babyish kids movie. Of course it is. And the main character, he's a whiny little wimp, but he's a great actor. I mean, he's actually a great actor. It's just, and everyone in this movie is a great actor. It's just the script is so bad that all of them, it does a disservice to all of their acting abilities. And I think the bullies in this movie, they're worse than the Garbage Pail Kids. Why is that?
Yeah.
The Garbage Pail Kids are the aliens. They're supposed to be the villains. They're supposed to be these little hellraisers, and they're supposed to be like these mischievous people who need to be put back in the pail. And instead it's just like, oh yeah, they're nice kids. They like to make clothes conveniently to service the plot. And yeah, they're just nice kids, and you know, it's all your fault because you judge them because of how ugly they are. And another thing, these filmmakers are so lazy. This movie had a budget of $1 million.
Wow.
$1 million. And that's not even adjusted for inflation. And what did they do with it? They got the guy who did the effects for Ghoulies, and he said the effects for this movie are not done. The facial animation is not done. And guess what the director said? This little douchebag director, he said, oh, it'll get better over filming. And it looks horrible. Their faces don't even move. It looks like Halloween masks. It looks like Michael Myers talking through stupid latex Halloween masks. The mouths don't even move. The eyes kind of move, but not really on all of them. It's just so inconsistent, and it doesn't look good because these filmmakers are so lazy. And except for the effects guy who warned them. And that's just one of the many problems that this movie has. You go to certain parts of the movie. I'll just pick out an instance. It's like this movie itself is the Pandora's box, and I can just pick a bunch of different problems and tell you how bad they are. Let's go to the scene where Tangerine, where Tangerine is selling clothes that she apparently made. She's a 15-year-old kid, but they play it off like she's like 30 or something, and like he's like a little 10-year-old, but really, she's 15 and he's 14. They were actually dating while this movie was made.
Yeah.
And so, she was selling clothes.
That she made.
That she made, apparently,
And
even
designed.
though she's a 15-year-old kid. She has no parents, even. She has no parents. She has her own house in New Jersey. She's able to pay for her own house, but she doesn't even make any money because her bully boyfriend steals all of her money profits away from her. And so she's selling clothes, and this girl comes up to her, and she buys a shirt from her, and she takes her shirt off, and they don't even show her boobs or anything because she's 15, so why do you need to show her taking her shirt off? And then she gives her the shirt, and then she gets mad all of a sudden, and they have to pull this girl away from the crowd because she all of a sudden, for no reason, she got angry after she just bought a shirt. What's up with that? Why did she just get angry all of a sudden? There's another scene. I'll just pick another Pandora problem in this movie. There's a scene at the end where the bully couple, there's a couple, and there's this effeminate guy. He looks like he's dressed like he's in a gay club from Police Academy. He's got this like fishnet shirt on, and then he has a masculine muscle girlfriend, and they get puked on. And then, a couple of seconds later, the puke disappears from them, and suddenly they're just fine. They're just walking around, and all is forgiven. They never did anything wrong. They never threatened this kid's life. They never did anything to hurt him. Oh, let's just let them go. Who cares? And then you have the magician. He's never even in his own shop. He says at the beginning of the movie that he loves this shop because he likes how there are all these artifacts that remind him of the good old days when he wasn't even around for, apparently, because they had, like, African tribal things. He never lived in Africa in the olden days, and then he's never even in the shop where these artifacts are that he likes. And then, let's get to another problem. All of the Garbage Pail Kids in this movie have something cool about them. Well, cool as in, like, cool to a little 2-year-old kid who can't even comprehend movies or TV shows. Like, you have the guy, he passes gas on every character in the movie. And then you have the girl that vomits. And then you have this nerd character, and he's a stereotypical nerd. He's got a Superman-style outfit on, and all he does the whole movie is pee. He pees everywhere and everything. And they never give him anything cool to do, but they give all the other kids something cool to do.
Okay.
No, I'm not done. I've got to go through this movie so that people can see how shitty this movie is. This movie, this PG movie that should have been rated R. The studio said, no, we're not going to do that. Kids need a Garbage Pail Kids movie. Even though the Garbage Pail Kids aren't played by kids, they're played by little people, and the little people's faces are entirely covered in masks, and they can't even use the little people's voices for some reason, because I guess, those people's voices just aren't good enough for them. And so they had to get Winnie the Pooh, the president of China, the real Winnie the Pooh, and he did the voices for 2 of them, and they had to get other people's voices. And so, it's just so weird. And this movie feels clearly like a group of old people sat in a room, and they said, let's make something funny for us, and let's make something that we think that the kids will enjoy. They don't know anything about what kids enjoy. These old, stupid people who wrote this movie, they have all sorts of adult stuff in this movie, which Safi will talk about. And this movie is not for kids at all. And it's not for adults either. So who's it for?
You'll have to do a little bit more because I have to order a pizza.
Okay, she has to order a pizza. Oh, that was weird. But anyway, let's just keep going in this movie. These kids, they're supposedly from outer space. We never learn where they're actually from.
Or how they got there.
Oh, apparently their garbage pail was a spaceship, and their garbage pail was able to survive through space. Wow, that's just another plot hole that this movie created, because they couldn't just have a random garbage pail appear out of nowhere and oh yeah, that's right. Let's go back to what this movie was supposed to be. The guy who did the effects, he was supposed to direct the movie, and the story was going to be similar to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Listen to this, Safi. There were supposed to be some Cabbage Patch Kid dolls, or just kids' dolls in general, that were going to get thrown in the trash because these kids didn't appreciate them, and then there was supposed to be toxic goo that got in the trash can and mixed in with these dolls and turned them into Garbage Pail Kids. Wouldn't that make a whole lot more sense than just some random garbage pail floating through space that came from a planet that we never even learn exists, or any name of the planet, or any origin of the planet, or anything? Wouldn't that have made a lot more sense?
Yep.
And so then, let's get to the climaxes of this movie, of which this movie tries to have a lot. This movie is so weird. Stuff just comes out of nowhere, like that girl getting mad. There's this one part in the movie where the Garbage Pail Kids are out and they steal a big Pepsi truck. Oh boy, let's show kids how to steal. Let's show kids how to do Grand Theft Auto. And so they steal. Oh, sorry. They'd steal a Pepsi truck and then they run over Juice's car. But they don't make it seem like it was Juice. They don't even talk about it or mention the fact that his car was destroyed. And you know why? Because it wasn't Juice's car or Juice. It was some random guy, and they couldn't afford to pay another actor to come in and just do that one scene, so they show him from far, far away, and they pretend like it's not Juice in his car getting run over. Hey, you know what you could have done? You could have had that be a part of the real climax. You could have had it at the end where Juice tries to get away after Dodger beats him up, and then he's in the car, and they steal a truck, and they run him over. That would have been awesome, but no. We gotta do something for the kids, because the kids don't get any movies for them, even though they get, like, every single movie ever made. They get all the Marvel movies, they get all the Disney movies.
Not back then.
They get Goosebumps. Back then it was even better, because they had Saturday morning cartoons, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Batman the Animated Series, Masters of the Universe. They had everything in this movie. And then you get to the part where Dodger beats up the villain, and it's the villains versus the good guys, apparently. And Dodger beats up the bully, not very much. He gets in a few punches, and then all of a sudden, he starts crying. And then the magician has to come over and pull him off of the bully, and then just all is forgiven. And another thing, speaking of stuff that pops up out of nowhere, the bully is on the phone talking, and he says, when you get the stuff over the border, just store it in the warehouse. They're implying that he's a drug dealer. What does that have to do with anything else in the movie? Why does he need to deal drugs when he's already making tons of money off of his girlfriend's clothing selling thing, where she just sells to the same old people